rom-coms. As a rom-com connoisseur, which actually has been debunked since I did my ranking romance movies video, and I actually realized, hey, I actually haven't even watched that many romance movies. What?
It's becoming clear that I haven't seen a lot of these movies.
I thought I did, but then there was like 40 that I didn't know or watch, and I was just like, oh. But anyways, I would still coin the term rom-com connoisseur, so let's go. So I've watched a plethora up for debate romance movies and read quite a few too. And you know them, for they're most of the time quirky girl getting attention from the guy who isn't supposed to be attracted to a girl like her, or the girl who doesn't do romance and is suddenly swept off her feet by a lovable, charming guy. And our favorite, they hate each other, but they have to pretend they're dating. Rom-com, specifically movies, follow a pretty consistent storyline and plot, and most of the time they don't really diverge from that. There's a general meet cute, something in the plot is bringing them together so they can interact, they do some cute flirty things along the way, or maybe they realize they genuinely like the person after having to be around them. There's a third act conflict, then they make up and live happily ever after. If this consistent plot was right, some movies take a sharp left turn, and I'm going to be talking about those movies that take that sharp left turn. I will be talking about 3 movies in order from most moral to least moral. Subjectively, of course. We're going to define what morality is, and I'm going to stick to the definition that Google gives me. Google defines morality as principles concerning the distinction between right and wrong or good and bad behavior. So we're going to be examining, what do these movies have these characters doing, and what they are doing, is there some morality? Is what they're doing, is their behavior good or bad? And how does that attain to the morality of the movie? Thank you. Let's get into it. The breakup. This 2006 movie follows Brooke, played by Jennifer Aniston, and Gary, played by Vince Vaughn, as they end their relationship. More like Brooke ends their relationship. Brooke nor Gary wants to move out of their shared condo, so the two go back and forth doing purposefully irritating things to each other to get the other to move out of their condo. Thought I would tell you guys the ending of the movie. So they both decide to move out and go their separate ways, thank God. They cross paths down the line and an awkward but I guess friendly exchange occurs, and it's kind of this ambiguous ending. So now that they've grown, separated, done what they want to do, are they going to get back together? Are they not? I think they shouldn't, but let me know what you think. When I first watched this movie, it was frustrating to watch. I hated seeing a woman doing what society deems that she is supposed to be doing. She's supposed to be cooking, cleaning. To me, it was a nightmare seeing this on screen. I'm like, this is what they talk about. This is what they say we have to avoid. And this is being painted as a romantic comedy. I didn't really understand what was going on there. I also want to say, it's okay for a woman to want to do those things, but it's not when it's being assumed that a woman is going to cook and clean and do all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, if the woman wants to, power to woman, I love you. But if you're assuming just because she's a woman that she's going to do that, death penalty. But going back to this movie, having already watched it and also with, I guess, a different mindset, I realized how needed this movie is, and I appreciate the fact that there is a romantic comedy element added into it, and we'll get into that when I go through my rating of the movie. But I appreciate them showing real life, essentially. And I think anytime you see something from the outside, it's so easy to judge and be like, I wouldn't put up with that, this is the issue, X, Y, and Z. But really, when you're in the situation, sometimes can't really see the red flags. Sometimes it's harder to see the issues and get out of it than it is being on the outside and just being like, get out of it. There's feelings involved. There's a lot of things involved with that. Anyways, when you watch the movie, you truly understand the issues that go on with this couple. 1, communication, they lack it. 2, arguably one partner isn't putting in enough effort. I also want to say that this is one of the movies on the list that I don't think does not have any morals. I think it does have morals, but I put it onto the list because, like I was explaining, the consistent plot line of rom-coms, I think this is one of the few that diverge from that, so much so that some reviewers of the movie say that this should have been a drama instead of a romantic comedy. Comedy? What? Romantic comedy. Upon further review, when I went to edit my rating to see if I would change anything, I actually like that there's the romantic comedy in it. Would I say this is a romantic comedy, you should watch it? No, but let's get into it. I have a rating scale. We'll be rating the movies on 5 things, I think. 4 things: chemistry, rewatchability, story, and morality. and they all have a possibility of getting this is out of 20 points. Everything's out of 5. 5 times 4 equals 20. Okay. So for chemistry, I gave the breakup 3.5 out of 5. Why?
Chandler, how did you get to
So I think it takes really good chemistry to be able to have a good argument with someone. If you guys see the argument scenes, and I'm pretty sure they're on YouTube or TikTok, you can easily look them up. They look like a real couple. Hey, they look like I just walked into husband and wife's house and they're arguing. It started over lemons. It didn't really start over lemons, but this specific argument, the lemons just ticked it off. So I think they had really good chemistry in hating each other. But romantic chemistry, we don't really see them be romantic other than like the beginning, and that's it. So romantic chemistry, that's where you don't get the 2.5. I'm sorry, because this is labeled as a rom-com. So romantic comedy, I'm looking for the romance. There was no romance. There's nothing there. So that's why before I was kind of confused as how is this a romantic comedy? There's no romance going on. But there are elements where it's like the fun, silly. In Brooke's efforts trying to get Gary to move out of the condo, she goes on dates with these really like cute rich men, and there's like the like falling over silly, the rom-com kind of woman character. He like has his friends over and they make a mess of the apartment. So it's just like things like that where the rom-com comes in. But yeah, in terms of romance between the characters, I didn't really see it. So rewatchability, this is extremely important when we're watching a rom-com. They are meant to be rewatched. They're supposed to withstand the test of time. I'm sorry, I gave this a 0 out of 5. I will never watch this again. Seeing the pain that Brooke goes through, it's a little too real. And if I wanted to see reality, girl, I would just wake up. Hey, like, nah. When you watch a rom-com, you want to swoon, you want to feel giddy, you want to be like, oh, I wish I had that, that's so cute, are we serious? This movie didn't give me any of that. I don't think anyone came out of this movie saying, I wish I had that. Like, no, nothing in this movie was cute. That's why I'm saying, like, maybe it should have been a drama. For story, I gave this a 4 out of 5. I don't think any rom-com has done what this movie has done. Only a few, maybe. They have this really serious plot that overtakes the romantic comedy aspect, and I think having that makes this film lighthearted and not as like, oh shit, what did I just buy tickets for? Hey, I thought this was cute. Wait, I thought they broke up and got back together. What is this? This is serious. I think if this was shot in 2024, it would just be sad and like disinteresting, and like we would focus on like the cinematography. Sorry, personally, like, because I already know it's gonna be just like trauma after trauma after trauma, and like, who wants to watch that? For morality, I gave this a 3 out of 5. I think this movie is pretty moral because like I don't condone living or tolerating this kind of behavior that Gary ensues. But you know, like, I'm not saying that everything is Gary's fault. Majority is it? Yeah, kind of. But you know, Julianne does have her faults too in the relationship. I think this movie can be an example of what not to look for, what behaviors to avoid, what can you do to, you know, maybe fix your marriage. Maybe married couples watched this movie and was like, maybe we should talk. And I think that could shove you in the right direction, thus pushing you towards good behaviors. Out of 20, this movie got a 9 out of 20. So that's a 45%. I think the only part that this movie lacked was rewatchability. On the scale, like, you know, 100 would be most moral, 0 would be least moral, and this is 45. So you failed. You failed the test. Listen, there's worse to come. But I think this is a pretty fair score in what we're going to be seeing like next in the movies I'm going to be talking about, because typically you're rooting for the characters to get back together. In this scenario, we are not rooting for the characters to get back together. We want them to break up. Thank you. Look at the title of the movie. We want you to do that. Now, I don't think this means that this is a bad movie, but in terms of a rom-com, no. No. Like, would you watch a horror movie if you weren't anxious or scared for a majority of it? Or questioning things, you know what I mean? So if there's no lovey-dovey, I'm laughing, I'm having a good time, this is so cute, I love the relationship during a rom-com, if I'm not feeling those things, is it a rom-com? No, this is a drama, and it's okay to label it that. Don't try and trick me, because you tricked me. Because I'm like, aren't I supposed to be laughing? I feel like crying. I don't think y'all have seen that part of my room before. Anyway, we are on our second movie.
Yes.
My best friend's wedding. The late 90s. I've always wanted to watch this movie because of the actors in it. Cameron Diaz, love her. Julia Roberts, love her. And Dermot Mulroney, yes, he was a New Girl. I know this man. He looked familiar. I have to watch this. But then I realized what it was about. Realized I would be hate watching if I decided to watch this movie. And that's kind of what I did. Julia Roberts stars in the 1997 classic where her character Julianne has a childhood best friend Michael, played by Dermot Mulroney. They struck up a deal to marry each other if they were both single by 28. Do people actually do that in the real world? And if you do that, just get together. But this sucks for Julia Roberts because her bestie is actually engaged 4 days before her 28th birthday. That fucking sucks. To Cameron Diaz, what the fuck? She has this epiphany that she's in love with him and she needs to be Cameron Diaz. I'm going to refer to Cameron Diaz's character as Cameron Diaz. I don't remember her character, and I kind of just like referring to her as Cameron Diaz. So Julianne tries to stop the wedding between Michael and Cameron Diaz, but how can she do that when she's the maid of honor? What? She's made the maid of honor of the wedding she is trying to stop. I would be sick to my stomach. So the premise of the movie starts with Michael said if they were both single by 28 that they would marry each other, and they both agreed to this. Then we get to the scene where she is 28 and she is planning to tell Michael that she wants to get married. Like, hey, we're both 28, like we're both single. So she thinks. But when she calls Michael, he tells her that he is getting married. It makes her sick to her stomach. Duh. So she is upset. Low key, I feel like she just wants him because she can't have him. Because, I mean, she already had him once. She didn't want him then. So this is all very sudden to Julianne. She's like, how are you getting married? Like, what? You barely know this woman. But he loves her, so I guess they're getting married. But I don't know how much Michael actually loves Cameron Diaz, because why, when Julianne is in the dressing room trying on dresses to be the maid of honor of the wedding, and Michael comes into the room and he's like, you look good without any clothes on.
You look really good without clothes on.
But you don't look. You can't be making those type of comments. Michael cannot be making these comments because Cameron Diaz knows that Michael has a thing for Julianne. She knows that Michael puts her on this pedestal. I would be okay with like them being friends if it was always platonic between them. But these people still continuing to be flirty and romantic with each other while planning for this wedding. So I don't accept any of this behavior. So then we get a scene where Julianne and Cameron Diaz are in the elevator, and she basically says, she meaning Cameron Diaz, basically says like, hey, I know that Michael likes you, but I'm the one he's getting married to. Okay, you did not eat, Cameron. The real serve wouldn't. I would say, hey, you ate. I would say that if you both left him alone. Because obviously, I'm not putting these two women against each other. I'm not saying like, this one deserves to be with him. This one, no. Neither of you deserve to be with him, because y'all deserve better than Michael. Because Michael is playing y'all both, which is what we don't talk about. I'm just going to tell y'all the rest of the movie. She tried to get him fired twice. Huh? This is psychotic behavior. And she broke numerous laws doing that. Like, she hacked some computer and fucking emailed his boss some shit. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you're crazy. All to get him fired because she wants to marry him. In her efforts to also get him fired, she also tries actively breaking them up. I think she tries breaking them up 3 times, and one of the last times that she got them to break up, they almost got nasty and freaky. But I'm supposed to believe that Michael and Cameron Diaz belong together. But they didn't end up getting freaky. Okay. And Michael and Cameron Diaz keep getting back together and saying that they're in love with each other. Whatever. But I don't think that's love. Yeah, so then wedding day comes up. Mind you, if I have not reiterated this enough, Julianne is the maid of honor. So wedding day comes up and Julianne's like, hey, I need to talk to you. Says this to Michael. She ends up confessing her love to him. She says, pick me. Let me love you. She then kisses him. And Cameron sees. This starts the probably most infamous scene in rom-com history, because Cameron runs away after seeing the kiss. Then Michael is running after Cameron, and then Julianne is running after Michael. So there's this whirlwind chase throughout the venue. It even like, she gets into a car. Now it's like a car chase. And she gets on the phone with her gay best friend. I say gay best friend for a reason, because the point of the gay best friend in the movie is to have this perfect man. He is hot, he's attractive, he's smart, he has, I guess, everything you would want in a man, but he is gay. This also contributes to the fact that Julianne just cannot win. Every man in her life she can't have. She can't have her best friend because he's gay. He can't have Michael because Michael is getting married to someone else and claims he loves her, even though he continuously flirts with Julianne. So like, what the fuck? But yes, the best friend calls her and he's like, so you're chasing Michael. Michael is chasing Cameron Diaz, and who's chasing you? No one. He actually dropped a bomb. That was actually a slap to the face. That was a personal attack that actually needed to be done. Thank you so much, George, for that, because everyone needed to hear that. Who is chasing you? No one. And that is the epitome of Julianne and this movie. Everyone's chasing each other. No one's chasing her. She has to find someone that will chase her. That's why her story is so sad in this movie. Anyway, she finally catches up to Michael in this train station, and she gives this bullshit excuse as to why she tried to get him fired and all the time she's tried to break up Michael and Cameron, and he accepts this. What? Everybody in this movie is sick. I don't understand. So now we're going to be getting into the ratings. For chemistry, I rated this a 1 out of 5. I really had trouble trying to rate chemistry in this movie because we're not supposed to be rooting for everyone. At least this is what I feel. This is all personal, opinionated, subjective. The director says that he wanted to flip the story, flip the formula of a rom-com, and make the girl not get the guy. So I think this does have the rom-com elements that every rom-com has. I do think so. I think this is actually the most rom-com movie on this list, but I'm not rooting for everyone. I'm not rooting for Julianne because she wants to get with Michael. She doesn't need to get with this man. I'm not rooting for Michael and Cameron Diaz to get together because Cameron Diaz needs to leave this man alone because he is fucking crazy and he's probably going to cheat on her. They're not going to last. The only person I'm rooting for is Cameron Diaz to get out of this mess. So chemistry, I'm not rooting for everyone. Y'all should have gotten a 0 out of 5, but I'm giving you 1. Rewatchability, 1 out of 5. I don't even think I have to explain this. I would rewatch this, but if it was on TV and there was nothing for me to watch, I absolutely don't care what's on. I'm like, okay, well, I've seen Best Friend's Wedding before, let me turn that on. But I'm never going to be let me watch Best Friend's Wedding. Maybe if I want to hate watch, but I'm not gonna spend my time hate watching a movie. What? Anyway, so story, y'all might be surprised. 5 out of 5. Amazing story. Amazing. I love what we did with this. This was during the peak of rom-coms, okay? And the director said, let me give them something new. Let me give the audience something to talk about. And what am I doing right now? Talking about it. So he did his job, and I think that is one of the reasons why it's so popular, because it's different. We're not rooting for the main couple to get together. We're rooting for something else. We're rooting for Julianne to finally wake up, find someone who will run after her like Michael is running after Cameron Diaz. I looked up some of the reviews of the cast and director, and I really liked what Dermot Mulroney said, who plays Michael. Says about Julianne that her story is sad and she's pining after a man that doesn't want her, but she so desperately wants to be picked. Julianne even says to Michael, pick me, love me. And he still doesn't pick her, and he ends up running after the person that he actually wants. And I think that's the takeaway. After Dermot said that, I was like, wait, is this even a rom-com? This is sad. Now I feel bad for Julianne's character, but I also feel like so many people can find themselves in Julianne and wanting to be picked so badly, not even just in a relationship, just in anything. You want to be the one, you want to win, but there's obviously another winner. There's someone that for some reason they're better than you. They're the better option for some reason. So I think we can find a lot of similarities in Julianne. Is she a terrible person? I mean, don't kiss your best friend who's getting married. You know what I mean? But her as a character, her behind her actions that she's doing, I understand. And it's just sad. She just needs some development. She needed this. She needed someone to tell her no, so then she can move forward with her life. Morality, I gave this a 1.5. This movie is full of morally wrong things. Plot is so murky, it's so morally gray. But does that mean it's a bad movie? Not necessarily. So in total, this movie got a 8.5 out of 20, which means a 42%. That puts My Best Friend's Wedding at number 2 as kind of the intermediate, the middle, the medium between most moral and least moral. And I think this fits because we're getting worse in terms of morality. reality, but there's still some understanding, there's still some grace that is willing to be given to these characters and to this story. Hello everyone, we are on the last movie, Something Borrowed. So y'all, this movie is what inspired me to make this video. I have such a deep hatred for this movie that I was actually procrastinating not watching it. Wait. I didn't want to watch it. I watched it on cable like a long time ago, and I didn't want to just go based off of what I knew. So I was like, let me watch it. And also, like, I want to watch a movie right now. But no, I watched the movie. It was 2 hours. I did not remember it being 2 hours. I started watching this movie and I was just like, why did I ever hate this movie? Then we got into the meat, the juice, the crux of the story, and I remembered, oh, I hate everyone in this film except one person, and we'll get into that. So this movie follows Rachel, played by, is it Jennifer? What is who? Y'all, I'm sorry, Jennifer, the girl who's in Once Upon a Time, as she makes a big mistake involving her bestie Darcy, played by Kate Hudson, and Dex, played by whoever this is. So she also has another best friend who is actually her best friend because he actually cares about her and knows shit about her, who is played by John Krasinski. The movie starts off with Darcy throwing Rachel a surprise party. We can tell that she did not want this. She's not the kind of person who is wanting to be the center of attention, but Darcy is that girl. She wants to be the center of attention. She makes everything about her. And from this, solely the intro, we learned one, that Darcy has a tendency to make things about herself. Rachel is how Darcy and her husband to be, Dex, meet. Rachel and Dex were friends in college, and John Krasinski is the only person that cares about Rachel in this movie. Towards the end of the night, Dex and Rachel are looking for Darcy's purse that she left at the club. So they're looking for this purse, and then they're like, let's get a drink. So then they're at the bar drinking a little drink, and Rachel says to Dex that she had a crush on him in college. Rachel's like, you must know this information. Like, from watching this movie, girl, I wouldn't know what to think. I'm on Dex's side. The one time I'm on Dex's side, I wouldn't know you liked me because of the way she was acting. We'll get to that. She tells Dex that she had a crush on him in college, and she's like, you know this, right? And he's like, no, I didn't. These two end up getting in a cab. They're kissing in the cab, and then they get nasty, kinky, and freaky at Rachel's house. Mind you, Dex is engaged to Rachel's best friend Darcy. This is basically our setup for the movie. Rachel and Dex sleep together, and they're trying to keep it away from Darcy, and they're like, well, what does this mean for our relationship? And I hate that I had to sit here and watch it. So this is how they meet. I'm going to cover all of the flashbacks, and then I'm going to go into the present, and then we'll get to the end of the movie, because I think just like going back and forth might be a little confusing. So let's get the flashbacks over with. So this is how everything went down this night, and this night is basically what made our issues today. Rachel meets Dex at this bar. They're still in college, I'm pretty sure, law school. They're at this bar, they're kikiing, they're having a good time. They're even like inching their hands closer together, about to wrap their hands around each other, when Darcy walks in. She takes over the conversation. She dares Dex to ask Rachel on a date. This makes me think, okay, so Darcy knows that Rachel likes Dex. Otherwise, why would she ask that? She's daring Dex to do that. Rachel's like, no, we're just friends. No, we're just friends. Why would you say that if you like him? Okay, I'll give you some grace. Maybe she's embarrassed. Hey, I don't want to say I like him. I'm like, I don't know what he'll think. She even says this in the movie. I didn't think that you would like someone like me. And we could see this through the father. Because, sorry guys, I'm jumping around, but this is going to make sense. Later in the movie, she says, I didn't think you would like someone like me. Then we also see that Dex's father knows that Dex is messing around with Dex is messing around with Rachel when he's supposed to be engaged and in love with Darcy, and he says, you know, we don't mess with people like that. So now this movie wants to tackle classism. What are we doing here? We're tackling cheating, lying, classism? What else? Anyway, she says we're just friends. I don't know what's wrong with her, but Darcy's like, okay, then ask me out then. And then they start flirting and having a good time. Huh? Okay, so they're doing that. Darcy goes to the bathroom. She comes back and she sees that they're like still conversating, having a good time, obviously. So she's like, I'm gonna go. I would do the same thing, girl. Dex says, let me take you home. He insists. She says, no, you two stay here. Then you might be like, okay, maybe she didn't want to, say, yeah, take me home in front of Darcy because they're obviously having a good time. She's walking out of the bar crying. Dex follows her. He says, I want to make sure you're okay. She says, yes, I'm fine. And then Dex says, okay, are you okay with me and Darcy doing our thing? And she says, yeah. Listen. I know it's hard to get into law school. You have to be smart. So why are we lacking emotional intelligence? Why are we lacking common sense? Dex, you see this girl is crying. Is that not raising red flags? And then she's like, yeah, I'm okay with you and Darcy getting together. Obviously a lie, Dex. This ends our flashback. Now we're in the present. Dex is rich. I guess Darcy is a rich girl too. I don't know what she does. Darcy invites everyone to go to the Hamptons. When I say everyone, I mean like Rachel invites John Krasinski. She invites Marcus. Marcus is Dex's family friend. Dex's cousin? I don't really know and I don't really care. He's played by Steve Howey, the guy that's in Shameless. And yeah, so they're all going to the Hamptons. It's hard for Rachel to see Dex and Darcy together, so she gets out of there. Then Darcy invites both Rachel and Dex to this concert event, whatever, cancels on them. She's getting Botox. We are consistently seeing that Darcy likes to control her environment. She's always in control. She's always the center of attention. And I understand how exhausting that can be. She is not a good character, but neither are these fucking idiots. So she cancels on them. This has Rachel and Dex have time to talk. They end up telling each other that, hey, I like you. And then they end up kissing. After their kiss, Dex invites Rachel to the Hamptons. I think this time, it's weird because this time they're both aware that they like the other. And yet Dex seems to be more flirty with Darcy. He should, because hey, that's his fiance. But why was the first time they went to the Hamptons he was more standoffish towards Darcy, and the second time he's like more on Darcy and like playing with her on the beach and shit, when he knowingly likes and knows that Rachel likes him and invited her. So then after the Hamptons trip, Dex is like, hey, I want to spend more time with you, or alone time I should say. So they plan to hang out during 4th of July weekend. Rachel's kind of on the fence about this, but they were at this little shop helping Darcy with her wedding, whatever. At this like appointment for her wedding, Darcy asks Rachel for help with her vows. Rachel says, just say something like, your life without him would be unbearable and unimaginable. What? You're saying this about your friend's fiance? It's too much. Rachel starts getting like spiteful or whatever. She's like, yes to the 4th of July weekend. So they get nasty, kinky, and freaky during this weekend. But little do you know, and we'll find out later, but I'm going to tell y'all now because it makes sense with the story and how I'm telling you. Darcy messes with Marcus. Remind you, Marcus is Dex's family friend / cousin. We don't know, we don't care, but he's connected to Dex. And they get nasty, kinky, and freaky. Marcus and Darcy. And so does Dex and Rachel during this weekend. Also, during the 4th of July weekend, Dex tells Rachel that he's in love with her. And happy music is playing and they're kissing. What am I supposed to be happy for them? Because I'm not. So this is when, his dad, because randomly his parents show up while Rachel and Dex are like on this 4th of July bender. I don't know. That's when he shows up and he's like, hey, we don't mess with the poor. But Dex doesn't really listen, and he's like, I meant when I said I love you. Okay, like I don't care. And then the next scene, I really like the scene because John Krasinski is the only person in this movie with an actual brain. He tells Rachel, you're stupid because you're letting him string you along, and Dex sucks because hey, he's stringing you along. He's not making any moves. He tells you he loves you, but is he anywhere close to breaking it off with Darcy? No. Is he anywhere near telling you, hey, I'm actually gonna marry Darcy? No. He's literally in the middle, living this life with Darcy, and then like getting kinky with you on the side and telling you he loves you. Are you serious? Girl, you deserve more than that. And that's what John was saying. You deserve more than that. And also, you make a decision as well. You either tell him like, hey, make a decision. Like, what are you doing? Decide for yourself. Do you want him? Do you not? And Rachel's comeback to this is he's not even married yet. So what are we supposed to do with that information, girl? I don't feel bad for you. You're saying he's not married yet, so he's not entitled to make a decision? what? You're stupid. You're dumb. We get a little like sympathy for Dex because there's this scene where Darcy, him, and his parents are walking through this gigantic house. We learn that Dex's mom is severely depressed and Dex felt like he had to make her happy to keep her well. And so when they're seeing this house and he sees how happy his mom is, he's like, yeah, I love it, even though he hates his life and he wants to be with Rachel, but he's with fucking Darcy. So I can see a little bit on how this might be hard for him. But then again, I also don't care because you're a cheating, lying freak. There's this scene where Darcy tells Rachel that she cheated on Dex with Marcus, like I told you during 4th of July weekend. Rachel seems so appalled by this. She is like, you cheated on Dex? Rachel, you have been doing worse. You've both been cheating. We can't cancel the cheating out, but you've been doing it longer. Everyone sucks in this situation, so don't act like Darcy is this villain in this like relationship fucking square when you've been doing the same thing. We can act like she's the villain towards you because she's a shitty friend because of how she treats you, minus Dex. I would be okay with her getting upset with Darcy in that way, but in like a romantic way with like Dex and Marcus and all that shit, like no, I'm not going to feel bad for you. I'm not going to side with Darcy nor Rachel nor Dex. Y'all, we're getting to the end of this. So they're on another Hamptons trip, right? They're at the bar. John, a little before this, tells Darcy, hey, you need to make a decision. Like, someone needs to decide something because you guys can't just be living in this limbo, whatever this is. At the bar, she tells Dex, you need to make a decision. And this is basically applying to a lot of things, not just the relationship, but the relationship with Rachel, the relationship with Darcy, his career because he wants to be a teacher, and other things like that. So she leaves him in the rain. She turns around and is running back to him. Why are you running back to him? He needs to she literally says, make a decision. And then she makes it for him. And she's like, I love you. I want you. Cancel the wedding. Don't marry her. I want you, Dex. And he's like, I can't, Rachel. Okay. This man is aggravating me. He needs to get hit by a car because they're standing in traffic. Like, or maybe they're not. I don't care, but push him out so he can get hit and maybe he'll get a brain. Like, and then I'm just gonna go through these bullet points because nothing else fucking matters in this stupid movie. So John Krasinski tells Rachel that he loves her and she rejects him. So this is really just showing me that she does not have a brain. This man has stood by you even in your disgusting decisions that you're making, the only good man in this story, and you're rejecting him. So then Dex finally does the things we've been waiting for since day fucking one, and he breaks up with Darcy. So he breaks up with Darcy, goes to Rachel's apartment. He's like, I did it. They kiss, but guess who's knocking on the door? Darcy. She's like, hey, so I slept with Marcus. We knew that. She slept with Marcus, and hey, I'm also pregnant by Marcus. She leaves. She comes back and sees Dex's jacket in Rachel's apartment. She's like, so what is this jacket doing here? Rachel lies. She's like, oh, he left at the restaurant. Darcy's like, no, he wore that today. She's searching around the apartment looking for Dex. He comes out. They start arguing like,
you're pregnant with Marcus's baby. You slept with him.
You mess with Rachel. She's my best friend.
Darcy basically says, I never want to talk to you again. Saying this to Rachel. Never want to talk to you again. I can't believe you would do this to me. Bye. She's kind of valid. But also Dex is kind of valid too. They're all both right and wrong. 2 months into the future, Rachel says to Darcy, she didn't say this, she kind of did. She basically said, I'm not sorry I slept with Dex, but I'm sorry that I hurt you. Everyone in this movie is weird. I feel like I'm going crazy. The ending like truly kills me because am I supposed to be happy for these people? Happy music is playing. Rachel is carrying Dex's laundry, gives it to him, and they kiss and they're holding hands. I actually could not care less. All these relationships are built off of lying and cheating. Why would I be... Now for my ratings. You guys can probably guess what I'm going to rate this. Let's still do it. So chemistry, 2 out of 5. So I can see that Rachel and Dex are compatible. You can see in their flashbacks they really got along. And I wish this could have all happened without the lying and cheating. But with that said, do I think they belong together with everything that has happened?
No.
I think everyone should separate and go their separate ways. Chemistry, like, again, I'm looking at this through a rom-com. No. I wasn't laughing. I wasn't having fun. Anyway, rewatchability. fucking zero. I'm never watching this again. I was literally procrastinating watching it a second time, especially because it's 2 hours. Like, this movie made me so unbelievably angry while watching. I was just so upset for Rachel. I wanted her to get up so many times. I was begging her, like, get up, stand up, and get away from this man. You shouldn't have to fight like this for a man, Rachel, please. Story. I gave this story 0.1 star. This is only for John Krasinski's character. That's the only thing I liked from this movie. I will say, I can understand, because I was reading some of people's reviews, and I see that this is a movie about two friends. Rachel, she has a hard time saying no, especially to Darcy. And I think they didn't need to be friends. Specifically, Darcy said in one scene that she's not her best friend. She's like a sister and sometimes even a mother. Wait, that's not right. I feel like Darcy is too dependent on Rachel to the point where it literally is looking like a mother-daughter relationship. That's not okay. It's obviously not okay for Rachel because she feels like she can't say no. Like, her boundaries are always being ran over and like shot at. They're non-existent. And Darcy, on the other hand, she doesn't know when to stop. She doesn't know when it's too much. Quite literally runs over those people's boundaries, especially Rachel, and it's a lot. And I feel like if you guys watch the movie and you see how Marcus acts, she does end up with Marcus at the end. You know, they're compatible. I think they're both the life of the party type of people, and they're just very similar. And Dex and Rachel are very similar as well. I have no feelings towards them because I don't care about their story because, girl, like, no, I don't like their actions. Oh, yeah, boundaries. So I think that this movie offers like a different take with rom-coms as well, because we see like the boundary things and, I don't know, a closer look into like this weird dysfunctional friendship, and we also have dysfunctional relationship. Yeah, I think for all those reasons I just list, I'm going to bump it up to 2.5 out of 5 for the story. And then for morality, y'all know it's a 0. Like, I don't even have to tell y'all why this is a 0. This movie is engulfed, saturated with bad behavior. No morale. Everyone is just committing these atrocious acts. So for that, the total of this movie is a 4.5 out of 20. That is a 22.5%. You guys have to retake the course. Nobody else in the class failed as bad as Something Borrowed, but that is going to be our last movie. Let me know which movie you guys liked from my description, and also, like, do you agree with my rating? Because this puts Something Borrowed at the least moral, My Best Friend's Wedding in the middle, and then The Breakup at most moral. Do you guys agree with that? What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? Do you guys think I should continue doing more videos like this? This was so fun. But let me know if you guys like videos like this. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.